Hello guys and welcome to my Unreal game. Well, it's more of a slice of a level of a game because that's what I wanted to do, that's what I'm into, I wanted to create a whole slice, just for more development and depth. So what you just saw was my matinee sequence, my action sequence, my cutscene, that's the one, cutscene. So how that works is after 15, it's a 15-second video used by the camera, and and what it does, it shows the camera back pans all the way back, shows my waterfall, and that's through the matinee sequence using camera, and then action frames through about the seconds, and then after 15 seconds it switches back to the player controller, which is the first person over here, first person, and then we can start the game. So let's first start with the texture. Okay, the floor has three different textures. Snow texture, it's nice and white, has a normal map. Dirt texture, so this brown one, basalt I believe it's called, and rock texture, the rock one, and that's used by texture panning, texture coordinate I believe, and texture pan. And then all I have to do is go through, layer them up, and then make them into an information, and then paint over them, and I can paint all around the map. Anyways, next thing in mind, I'll talk about the time of day. If you look very carefully and really slowly, the sun is actually moving. That's because I have a time of day. I create a time of day node blueprint, and how that works is within a timeline, after like 24 minutes or seconds I believe, it slowly goes all the way down to give me a night and day cycle. Pretty simple stuff, using the event tick I believe. Okay, next thing I suppose is these snow. So this is my particle effect, and how I worked is I used collision, spawn, requirement, initial size, and initial velocity, changing them up using both all axes. The texture itself is just a multiply with a texture, an exponential something, to create a simple white texture. And I added a collision texture on it, so literally when it hits anything, bang, it kills it. That's it. Okay, so when you first start the level, you're introduced with there's no entry thing. All that is a simple destructible mesh. So after a few seconds, if my character goes through it, it'll explode into smithereens and create a noise, and then I'll be able to progress through the game. These are just Easter eggs that I created by myself. If someone isn't watching this video, you get this thingy, these to give you tips on how to play. Alright, next thing, if you see on the top left is the green HUD. And how that works is I'm only able to take damage with fall damage, but the interaction is a bit strange, because I don't take damage sometimes, but rarely I do. It's a bit weird. And on the left it's my compass. So as it goes by the y-axis, anywhere I move, the compass automatically changes using the event tick. So the objective of my game is essentially to head north. And then if I get lost, look at that, northeast, east, southeast, south, southwest, west, and northwest, and back to north. And as you can see, the time of day has changed. We're now on evening time, afternoon time, or morning time, whatever you like. Next thing in mind is this. The whole reason I created this is my second attempt at this game, and I only did it just because of this one feature. It's F to pick up, not P. Stupid, right? What stupid is, the first time I made the game, I was unable to pick up, and I recreated this like over 8 times. So I have 8 different copies of this just to pick up, and it works every single time except for my original. So I recreated the whole game just for this, and then before I do anything more, G to spawn snowball, L to on and off, so L, bang bang bang. I couldn't find my welcome, Comic Sans, blah blah blah. Here's my target. I'm not going to use that, just for another purpose. So if I press G, snowballs will spawn, blah blah blah. Look at that, infinite snowballs. And that's because I'm using an arrow, and then deciding on where it is, it will spawn there. So if I press F, hey, look at that, would you look at that, F, I finally have the snowball. Wait, so hard. I tried so hard just for this, even though it's not even a part of the rubric. Literally. Oh, hold on. There we go. Look at that. Throw them snowballs all the way. Yes. Alright, one more. Alright. There we go. Okay, whatever. Alright, carry on with the game. I'm gonna enter the waterfall, and when I enter it, it will create a splash queue because there's a box trigger at the top for a splash. Then I will enter the post-processing, volumes and water physics, slow my character down. Initially, my character go turn to blue, depth of field, vignette, all of that nice cushy stuff, to give it realistic. And then the second few things. Now that I have restart. Hello there. I call him Philip. Why is my light not working? Oh, there we are. So here, this is basically the whole feature of the light, so I can see underwater. Pretty cool, right? Yeah, that's right. I've increased the speed of my water. Look at that. The sharks are vegetarian, blah blah blah. I've speeded up my water because otherwise it takes absolutely ages, like I think it's 4 minutes or something, or like 3 minutes, God knows, for me to enter. So I speeded it up, went to settings and changed the swimming speed to 30. Okay, I've already talked about my snow. So this is what my scene looks like. I just wanted to create a visually appealing scene. That's a hell of a lot of snow. I don't even understand, but whatever. So next I have my foliage. I created these trees by myself. These are my first attempt at creating trees, so they're pretty crappy. I've also learned the opacity map now, so next time the leaves will have opacity and more realistic. So these also have a block all thingy collision to make the character stop going there, so these are the boundaries. And they use the culling system, so the closer I get to him, the more will spawn, and the more I go back, they'll disappear. This is just more for performance and render quality, etc. The final thing in my game is this. What is this called? It's my cottage. Box trigger, thank you. Enter it, and voila, I'm in my yard. And now everything has physics. The first copy of this game, I couldn't do this, but watch this. Would you look at that? It has mass, and I can pick anything up. Hey there, food. You look really nice. Bang! Not anymore. Hey there, spoon. There you go. Hey, glass. You're not gonna survive either. So it uses a line trace, and etc. Line trace, and then pick up object, drop object, create custom events, variables. Pretty simple stuff, to be honest. Here's just a custom particle fire, and here's no cottage is a cottage without this a dog picture, blah blah blah. So it's a pretty dark room, whatever. I don't know why these are invisible. It only works with light, but hey, whatever. That's a cool interaction, right? Okay, so in the devices, when I open the door back, there's one more thing. If you go, I'm not gonna show it in the video, but if you go into the back of the house, there's a surprise. But it's your choice if you want to see it. I'll give it all up to you. And finally, before I end this part of the video, if you press the P button, it'll pause the game. Now the game is paused. I can't do anything. It's completely stopped. So yeah. So the only way to start this back is if I press the resume button. I'm back, bro. I'm back. Look at that. And voila, L to thingy, blah blah blah, G to spawn snowballs, and G, pick that up, fling that away. So thank you guys. Next, in a second, I'll explain my blueprints, but let me just stop this one for 1 second. Okay guys, welcome back to my blueprints. So I haven't touched anything here really. All I did was hide the gun, as last time I deleted the gun, everything went to hell, so I left it this time, but I've hid it only. I deleted the projectile, because I don't need a gun in my game. However, one thing I did, I changed the jumping, so I've added a couple of more variables and booleans, so yeah. The floats, Yeah, floats. Floats are the decimal numbers, I believe, and integers are the direct numbers, or is it the boolean? Anyways, so I started creating the airtime, and so how my fall damage works is after 1.5, if I'm in the air for over 1.5 seconds, I will take damage after that, and it will come out of my player health with the strength, no fall damage, zero out, etc. Pretty that's it's basically a pretty simple jump. Okay, my compass, how this works is, oh, first let me just explain the sequence. Because I'm only allowed to have one event begin play, I use sequence to attach it to other stuff so it doesn't screw me later. So yeah, the compass is essentially just create the widget. In the blueprints of the widget, I've added the event tick, a separate event tick, because you can only add one event tick in the event graph. However, in the separate one, you can do it yourself, whatever, using the Z. Oh wait, what the heck? The Z? Okay, it uses the Z axis then, whatever, to do it, and then yeah, add it to the viewport. Simple stuff. Flashlight. When I create a whole new another input, so on the key input settings, I put it as L. So if you press L, light will turn on. Easy peasy. Spawn snowball. Item location. If I go to my viewport, as you can see here is how it's going to spawn. I mean it's where it's going to spawn. And whilst I'm at it, my flashlight is basically where the head of the camera is. So back to the snowball. So how it works is it's a separate mesh with collision. Once I press it, the class, it will get the world location or transform, whatever, and the item location, which is my mouse, and then it will spawn. Easy peasy. The pause menu, it just requires an input action, then the game will be paused, create a menu, then it will be added to the viewport. Show mouse cursor. This is made so my mouse is visible on the screen, because obviously naturally it normally isn't. Okay. And now the creme de la creme, the thing, the whole reason I started the whole project: pick up and drop object. I've literally I think at this point I've memorized this entire blueprint. It's not really long, but I think I memorized it. So the event tick, every second this is playing, you're gonna see the location, and then if it's with the physics handle, I'll be able to pick it up. The held object location, I've added it with the first person camera as a parent, and that's gonna be where I'm gonna be able to pick it up. So by pressing F using the branch, if it's true, I will drop the object. If it's false, I'll pick it up. Also, getting the is holding object boolean. Then releasing component, get the forward vector, as well as get world location, followed by the line trace. So that allows me to get world location. So it's always going to be predicting where I am, and then going to base it on the item. Pick up object. So objects will only be able to pick up if they have physics, stimulating physics, as well as, because I've also added another thing. I've added a mass, so you can't pick up all the fat stuff, just the little light stuff, like the glasses, snowballs, easy peasy stuff. Grab component, and then because it's on the hit this is basically the thing that makes it pick up. The hit component, stimulate the physics, get the world location, and get the mass. So this is basically where all the juice is at. Finally, I have one more thing, a walking depth of field. So when I'm walking, if I have a cube in front of me, what this essentially does is, if I'm looking at the cube, everything around me will be blurred, because that's how depth of field works. However, if I look at everything else, the cube will become blurred. It's just basically like a visual trick. Life is a weird one. Anyways, let me go into my level blueprints and start from the very beginning. This is all simple stuff, to be honest. This one is the surprise I was saying. All you have to do is press 1, it'll go to this, and then it'll go to this guy over here. Don't worry about it though, just ignore him. But if you wanna, it's pretty trippy though. Okay, so this is how the time of day works. I create a timeline with a 24-hour, it's like 24 full day, night, and cycle, using the y-axis, so going sideways, I believe, or whatever. So by setting the actor rotation, it's always going to be rotating and making the light source movable. That's what allows the day and night cycle to occur, otherwise it'd be frozen. And it's always updating the sun direction to create the shadow and etc. Sky field, blah blah blah. Okay, the shark sequence. This is where I first learned how to use sequencing. Because I wanted more than one shark, so I did some research and I found if I use a sequence node, I'm able to use multiple thingies for one begin overlap trigger box, and these loop. So how my sound works for splashing is if I go to the water, I'll splash. And that's if I jump in the trigger box, so play the sound. After a few seconds there it'll stop, you know, delay 5 seconds and then fade out by 2 seconds, exactly the same as my underwater. However, this is for 16 seconds. Also for opening the door event trigger box, uses the same boxes for opening and closing it, and then the play sound at location, which is my door creak noise. Okay, this is a pretty easy one as well. I have trigger volumes instead of trigger boxes, where instead of a kill zone, I thought I have it set with near the sharks on the edges. So what will happen if I go near them after a 2 second delay, my game will restart and go back to the I restart from the matinee sequence, basically start all over again. And this bad boy is yeah, of course. This is my cutscene. So what this does is, you know, begin overplay using my sequences, matinee. You get the player controller. Initially, it will go from the camera, and after the 15 seconds, which is the exact time of the cutscene, it will go back to my actor class. Because there's only one actor, it's gonna go to my first person, then looping, you know, etc. Then get player controller, and then it will go back to my character. That's pretty much it. Yeah. So overall, my game is I'm actually happy. Unreal, I'm a lot more happier with my Unreal work than I ever was with Stencil. The thing with Stencil was I'm not much of a fan of it. I don't know, I just don't think that coding is made for me, whereas with this visual coding I really enjoy it. I can't wait for I don't know if I should say I can't wait for advanced programming, but I actually really enjoyed this Unreal Engine. It's actually really impressive. I suppose also I enjoyed Unreal Engine because there are a lot more tutorials online compared to the YouTube guy who has, you know, talks like this, you know, you can't really hear anything. So you know, it was a bit of an unfair thing, to be honest. However, a few things I did learn. I did learn basic, like how triggers and things kind of work in Stencil, where my character would be like, hey, if I go through this barrier, it'll die and my level would restart. Thanks to my whole process so far though, even though my initial level, when I first started this, I started this really early on. Like literally when we were when we first got handed this task, I had finished 3 of the 5 tasks. So, you know, particle system, water system, matinee, that was 3. All I had to do was HUD and the other one, cutscene, which I hadn't. But literally, and then I migrated everything, and this is my second attempt, and I'm not even lying, I did this all in 1 day compared to the other thing which took me about a month. But that's the beauty of migrating stuff, I believe, right? Easy peasy lemon squeezy. So yeah, thanks to I suppose the only benefit of Stencil is it prepared me for this, because I didn't even know what blueprints were until this day. So yeah, thanks for watching my video, and yeah, I hope I get a good mark for this. Thank you. Bye.